It is Monday, November the 6th, and this is The National. You'll notice some things are new tonight, including the fact we're coming to you from 3 cities. I'm Adrienne Arsenault in Toronto.
I'm Rosemary Barton in Ottawa.
I'm Andrew Chang in Vancouver.
And I'm Ian Hannamansing in Toronto. One thing that isn't new, the journalism you expect, that will stay the same.
We're learning tonight a police officer was shot and killed while on duty in Abbotsford. That's about an hour east of Vancouver.
Able to meet with the spouse of this person. And
now, police eventually caught the suspect. He was hurt, taken to hospital. Well, let's go to Greg Rasmussen.
Really small geographic area. There's a gas station over here to my left.
Killed like this is a pretty rare thing in this country. Consider that between 2005 and 2015, 22 officers were victims of a homicide. That's according to Statistics Canada. And Ian, this is going to be it's a sad, but also a defining moment in British Columbia's history, because if you look back at officers who have been shot.
Frank Pomeroy, who was out of town yesterday, he and his wife lost their 14-year-old daughter. They were all shot by 26-year-old Devin Patrick Kelly. Eventually, Kelly lost control of his vehicle.
And what I can tell you is he sustained 3 wounds. 2 gunshots.
Paul Hunter spent the day talking to people in that community, asking them about what they've lost.
Far from the crowds of reporters.
Now, you were in Newtown, Connecticut after the shooting that killed 20 children, if ever there was going to be a shooting. And now, Adrienne, let's pick up on one of the points Keith made, and that is the somewhat counterintuitive connection sometimes between presidents and gun sales.
Right. So let's look at this president, a gun-friendly Donald Trump, the first president since Ronald Reagan to address the NRA. Oddly enough, he's actually been very bad for the gun business. So if we break it down a bit, let's have a look at a company called Sturm Ruger. That is the company that manufactured the assault rifle used in the Texas church shooting. Its profits last quarter were cut in half. Gun sales were down more than 35% year over year. And yet, when Barack Obama was president and it looked like Hillary Clinton might become the next president, gun sales soared. So when people thought they were going to lose their weapons, they started buying up. Now that Donald Trump seems set to protect gun ownership, buying eases off a bit. And this is a bit interesting. Shares in Sturm Ruger rose a bit in the days after 2 of the biggest mass shootings recently, Las Vegas and Orlando. Why? Maybe this is just more confirmation that Americans seem to believe the only way to protect themselves from guns is with guns.
And one more note on this story. We do expect to hear the identities of more of the victims soon. And of course, with each of those names will come a story.
So there are 4 of us here on night 1, which is awesome. But of course, that's not going to happen too often.
Yes, we are going to be heading out on assignment. It'll be nice to get some fresh air every once in a while. So most nights, only a few of us will be here. But tonight, here we are. So let's keep things moving, shall we? From Feist to Sting, stars from around the world are in Montreal celebrating a Canadian legend. We're going to take you inside the tribute concert for Leonard Cohen.
And fallout from a CBC News international investigation into offshore accounts and why it's generating so much criticism for the Trudeau government.
And a Canadian exclusive inside the ruins of Raqqa, Syria. Obviously, nothing makes sense in Raqqa now, but some things are particularly exclusive. They are all clues to the monstrous evil inflicted on the Syrian city. My story about 12 minutes from now.
I think everything. There's 3 different locations. There's 4 different voices. It'll be live all the time, which I know lots of people think that was the case, but it will be live all the time. So we'll be able to blow things up and just go live if something is happening in the world.
You're likely not going to see 4 people
in a studio every single night, because that's not what this is about. This is a chance for us to let stories be win the day. And so that means a lot of us are spending a lot of time in the field, and not just for breaking news or big events, but for stories, the way we've always done them. That's not going to change.
I think that it's going to be a national for the times we live in. And I mean, in part, the technology, the fact that look, I'm old enough that I remember a morning and afternoon edition of the newspaper, right? Those days are long gone. So we have a newscast that's designed for how technology allows us to see so much during the day. We have a newscast that allows us to respond to this, I mean, can I call it a hunger for real information?
As far as what I bring to the table, what I think is the beauty of this team is that we all bring a whole different range of experiences to the table, right? And different skill sets and different approaches to journalism. And so I'm one piece of that puzzle, right? One small piece.
It was leaked to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. The details are complex, but here's what you need to know. 13 million documents make up the Paradise Papers, revealing who has been keeping their money in offshore tax havens. Trillions of dollars worldwide are being sheltered from taxation. 3,300 Canadian companies or individuals are named. Among them, 3 former prime ministers and Montreal businessman and Liberal power player Stephen Bronfman.
Yeah, I'm the finance guy.
The Paradise Papers reveal Bronfman was involved in shifting millions of dollars to an offshore trust that may have cost the Canadian government millions in unpaid tax. Now, to be clear, tax havens are legal as long as rules are followed, but governments around the world are potentially losing out. In Canada, for instance, it's estimated, and this is just a guess, at $6 to $8 billion a year in lost tax revenue. And these new revelations are, of course, generating particular political heat for this Prime Minister.
Mr. Prime Minister, how do offshore tax accounts mean there's tax fairness for all Canadians?
Today, Stephen Bronfman issued a statement in which he said he has never funded nor used offshore trusts. Bronfman did acknowledge what CBC reported last night, that he made a single loan to the trust, which was then repaid, but also said he had no other direct or indirect involvement whatsoever in the Colbert Trust. CBC News will have lots more stories about the Paradise Papers investigation.
Get the real story from CBC News journalists all day long. Find powerful images on Instagram, exclusive video on Facebook, and hey, tweet us at CBC The National.
To get to the streets below. So we did, and we're just back. We saw some gruesome things, and we need to alert you that you're about to see them too. Because in the ruins of Raqqa, the evil is in the details. It almost doesn't matter how many warnings you get about how he is as spent and broken as is Raqqa.
There's so much in that story, Adrian, we could talk about, but tell me a couple of things that strike you. You've been back now for a couple of weeks.
Sure, the flies, for sure, the flies, because every time they're in your face and you can hear them, it reminds you that they're there because of the dead. And it survives now in Yemen, in the desert of the Sinai, and in southern Libya. And it was ISIS that killed 4 U.S. servicemen in Niger just weeks ago. Go further to Asia, you'll find ISIS-aligned fighters in Afghanistan and the Philippines. So one thing seems pretty clear: as the ISIS empire in Syria fades, the next extremist empire, if it happens, has options. Now you can take a virtual tour of the ruins of Raqqa with images we captured when we were in the city. Visit our interactive online right now at cbcnews.ca/thenational.
It very quiet ahead of his private funeral service that was held on Mont Royal. Tonight, the official and public goodbye and a musical tribute to Cohen's undying legacy. Here's Susan Ormiston at the Bell Center.
You can hear Leonard Cohen's incredible talents in every one of the performances here tonight. This tribute is all Cohen.
Tonight's tribute concert will be broadcast tomorrow on CBC Radio 2 and cbcmusic.ca starting at 8 p.m. local time, 8:30 in Newfoundland. If you want to sit around and have a good cry, you'll be able to watch it, though, in January on the 3rd on CBC television. And remember, go deeper on the stories of the day earlier in the day. Subscribe to our newsletter, cbcnews.ca/The National. The National Today will take you inside our journalism every afternoon.
Well, that is it, gang. We're here at the end of the first hour of the first edition. Before we go, quick look around our brand new set in Toronto, the old National Room, but a brand new look. Nice and big, too, eh, Rosie?
Yes, mine fits inside my pocket, but that's okay. You know, the other thing that's great is we can live update for the rest of the country through the evening. Andrew, that's your job there in Vancouver, and that's wonderful to see.
Yeah, every night's going to be a long night for me. That's kind of the way it works. But I mean, also I think Canadians are used to seeing you with your thumb on the political heartbeat of the country, and of course, that's going to be a big pillar of this program moving forward. You broadcasting from Ottawa, so we've got Ottawa, we've got Vancouver, we've got Toronto. Over there, Adrian.
As speaking of Toronto, if we could take a swing and have a look at the corner of the studio, this is sort of our museum. This is a nod to the great legacy and history of this place. There's some interesting things that are in there. Knowlton Nash's glasses are there. Peter Mansbridge's television from 1970s, and that right there, that is a note that Knowlton Nash left to Peter in 1988 when he took over the National. Peter made copies of it for us when it was our turn.
In this gang of four, I'm the old guy, I guess, and I was actually a reporter for the National when Knowlton was still the anchor. And so we have all the new technology. We have the kid there in Vancouver, and I guess I'm a connection to a little bit of the legacy of the show. That is the National for Monday, November 6th. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.